Welcome to Inside the Huddle. I'm Mike Joseph for the Lafayette Sports Network and GoLeopards.com. Leopards coming off a really tough loss to Fordham, 42-41 game, a game which they were in position to win the game at the end of the game, just couldn't hang on to the lead. But this is their fourth consecutive home game before they start a little bit of a road trip. Very important game, obviously, here against Bucknell, who's also struggling to get W's on the board. But Lafayette, with their freshman quarterback and their defense, have been in all of these games and need to do that continuously. We're going to talk today about special teams. This is an area that Lafayette has struggled a little bit in, especially on the return game, whether you're talking about kickoff return or punt return. A couple things that I believe need to happen, okay? Field position. Number one thing, we've seen Lafayette backed up inside their own 10-yard line. What that does is it limits your playbook. It limits really what you can do, especially with a young freshman quarterback. We saw Lafayette take a safety on a second down from inside the 2-yard line, really hurt the game. And obviously, if you look at the end of the score of the game, it was a difference maker. Also, we're going to talk about risk reward. When do you want to return a kickoff? So in 2018, the NCAA changed the rule so that if you actually fair catch the ball inside the 25-yard line, the ball comes out to the 25-yard line. Okay, if you fair catch the ball outside the 25-yard line, which Lafayette did later in the game on the last return, the ball started around the 32, 34-yard line. So it's important for these two returners that are back at the goal line, whether it's Hayes or some of the other guys back there. We saw Michael Hayes take a kickoff return early in the year, 93 yards for a touchdown. It can be a difference maker. But the rules that the NCAA have put in have obviously taken out a lot of the collisions on the kickoff, but they've also allowed the returners to make that decision. So a kickoff return has much become like a punt return. You have to take into consideration hang time. If that is a 4+ hang time, you want to consider obviously fair catching that football. If Lafayette has a return in this direction to the right and the ball is kicked over here by the hash or outside the hash, then that is a great opportunity to fair catch the football. On Michael Hayes' return, they had a right return, but the ball was kicked in the position to return the football to the right side. So that is a situation where you want to definitely return that football. But the longer the hang time, the deeper the ball gets. A lot of teams are trying to pin teams inside the 15-yard line by hanging those kickoffs high. So these two guys have such an important job of making a quick decision. Back in 2018, there were about 3.1 returns per game per team. Since 2018, that's gone down to 2.6. Doesn't seem like a lot, but a half a return a game can be a lot. The more distinct factor is 70 yards per average per game return yards on kickoffs. Prior to 2018, that number's all the way down to 48 yards. That's 22 yards of distance. That is a lot. That can mean the difference between winning the game, getting the ball out of your own end zone, and actually changing field position. All the time you talk about changing field position, punting the other team in. Lafayette also on punt returns. Usually if you put your heels at the 10, you're taught not to go backwards. Don't field the ball inside the 10-yard line. We saw them down a ball at the 1, which was questionable. But at the same time, it's very important on special teams to get a return and take advantage of this fair catch if you can, if it's not going to be in the side of the return. So Bucknell this week, it's going to be a big game. If Lafayette continues to play good offense, turn up the dial defensively, stop the run, a W is in the mix for Lafayette this weekend. We'll see you Saturday.